Hey Cozie Homies, welcome to the Zone. I am Zheng and I'm so happy to see you. For my first official video on this channel, I would like to share with you a book that has completely changed the outlook of my life. Have you ever felt like life is full of challenges you can never overcome? Or have you felt like you'll never be good enough to achieve what you want? I personally feel like this all the time until this book taught me to think otherwise. In essence, Kaizen means improvement. It's all about becoming a better version of yourself. The main focus of Kaizen isn't so much on making big drastic changes to our lives. Instead, it pays attention to a flexible and adaptable approach that allows us to create our own goals and work at our own pace. The point of Kaizen is making small incremental improvements in our lives, which can be also termed as marginal gains, which is an idea of improving everything by only 1%. All these tiny efforts will eventually accumulate and work towards a significant change. The concept of Kaizen became a lot more prevalent after World War II, where companies in Japan are struggling to be innovative and productive. Kaizen was widely adopted by many car companies, but more and more people realized that this way of life can be applied to our day-to-day livelihood. Many professionals and psychologists look into the concept of Kaizen and provided lots of technical insight. For this video, I will focus on Kaizen as a means for personal development and how we, the everyday people, can get in touch with it. This book talks about 4 aspects of personal development, namely physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. To start off, we should work on our physical habits first, before going on to emotional ones, and so on and so forth. It's kinda like climbing at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs in a way. There is a general procedure being presented in this book that simplifies how we can utilize Kaizen in every situation. I'll just name it the Kaizen loop. First, we plan and carry out small changes which are easily attainable and can fit into our schedule. Subsequently, we will achieve small successes from those self-appointed tasks, and this will make us more motivated to achieve more successes in the future. This cycle goes on and we'll reap the benefits of its cumulative effect. Now that we know the general flow of things, let's find out how we can actually take action. I've developed a framework called OOPSI, inspired by the concepts in this book. It stands for Overview, O on New, Prioritize, Speed, Inspection, and Encouragement. For overview, we can look at some general aspects of our lives that we want to improve. This book lists 6 broad categories which the author goes in depth with. They are health, work, money, home, relationships, and new challenges. After looking through these general areas, we can focus on a specific category we want to focus on first. After locating a specified issue, we can consider the activities we do that are associated with this issue. Do we want to find ways to improve on our current habits, or create a new habit that will be beneficial in the long run? We should keep in mind that these two are not mutually exclusive, since we can work on old habits and build on new habits that reap us benefits in both the short run and the long run. At this point of the process, we might have already come up with many different ideas on what we want to do. However, we should take a step back and look specifically into ideas we want to focus on first. We can consider prioritizing smaller goals that can be achieved quickly first, before slowly working our way up to the more complex goals. Do take note if any of these goals overlap. Now that we have chosen the most important goal we want to focus on, we need to set a measurable time frame for us to work towards. If the current activity is too intense to your liking, feel free to make the actions even smaller to manage. Conversely, if we find ourselves with more energy to carry on, we can increase the intensity of the actions or add in new steps. Setting long-term and short-term goals will be extremely useful in tracking our progress. Once in a while, we should look back at our progress while working towards our goals. We need to keep ourselves accountable for our actions and try to keep the momentum going. We can do so by keeping records in a diary, bullet journal, to-do list, or any other medium. Looking at our progress in retrospect could remind us of how far we have come and possibly spur us on to continue working hard for our next milestone. Sometimes, things might not go our way and fatigue could kick in while we're in the heat of working towards our goals. Giving ourselves small rewards occasionally can give us a good recharge and enable us to find joy in this Kaizen progress. Remember, never overwork yourself or make yourself feel horrible by overcommitting. Doing too much ultimately defeats the purpose of Kaizen. A huge chunk of this book dives in really deep with the common issues we will face in our lives and suggested tips on how we can get the ball rolling. Since there's way too much content for me to cover, I will focus on a few tips that has really helped me and improved the quality of my life. To start off, here are some of the goals that I've narrowed down for myself. In the field of fitness, I might want to become fitter through running. there are many small details they can work comfortably with. For instance, I can consider increasing my running distance. Perhaps I can run an extra round around the park every other week, or an extra 100 meters every time I run. Another example could be regarding our running pace. We can't expect ourselves to be sprinting when we can barely even jog. One thing I've done is to try to cut my running pace by just 10 seconds per kilometer each time I run, and the effects of these few seconds really do add up significantly after running a few kilometers. This book provided a really interesting and helpful exercise known as body scan meditation, which really helped whenever I feel anxious. We can first find a nice comfortable place to relax, close our eyes, and pay attention to our breathing. We then slowly bring awareness to every body part, starting from the head. Try to release the tension from our forehead and temples. Imagine your eyeballs floating in a cooling pool of water. Bring that awareness down to your shoulders, chest, arms, stomach, legs, and everything in between. Breathe into the areas where you feel tension exists, and bring that tension out of the body as you exhale. At the end of the exercise, tense the whole body at once and then release. I find this exercise really helpful in making me feel more calm and at peace with myself. In this time and age where everyone always seems to be occupied and busy, it is really difficult to maintain good quality relationships with those who truly matter, such as our family, friends, colleagues, and romantic partners. We can try to brainstorm small methods that can help keep these positive relationships going. For instance, send a text to a good friend who you think you've drifted apart from and ask them how they've been, giving a small compliment or showing a small act of appreciation to the person you're intending to meet up with. Give that person a small pat on the back or a nice embrace to make them feel loved. Tiny actions like these, done sincerely, can help sustain these relationships in the long run. Learning and acquiring new skills is an item on my bucket list. With a sea of endless options, we can zoom in and find a suitable hobby that interests us. It could be a long-forgotten childhood passion, or an advertisement that caught your eye. We can also consider what we want to get out of this hobby we're about to pursue to give us a stronger sense of purpose. We can then incorporate this hobby that brings the least amount of disruption to our daily routine, since the easier we can do this in our lives, the more likely we will stick to it. For instance, play the ukulele 10 minutes a day, listen to a podcast on your way to work, reading one chapter of a book every night before you sleep. The possibilities are endless. Unfortunately, the unpredictable nature of life could make our Kaizen journey a tough one, and we might easily slip right back into the comforts of our old behavior. As such, it is advisable for us to think of plan Bs or wet weather plans in the case where the going gets tough, and always celebrate the little milestones we have achieved to remind ourselves of why we even started out in the first place. This book brought out a really beautiful Chinese phrase, 危机, which means crisis. Where there is danger, there are opportunities. There's so much to gain during our difficult times, and we have so much to learn from all these experiences. Do not let your past efforts go to waste just because these setbacks exist. I hope you find this video useful, and let's work hard to improve ourselves. See you next time. Bye! Unfortunately, the unpredictable nature of life could make our Kaizen journey a tough one. And 哎呀，忘记了讲什么 Sorry. In this time and age where everyone always seems to be occupied. As such, it is advisable to think of